And a Leicestershire woman is among a group of adoptees, and they're calling for access to their family medical history. Dawn McLean's mother was forced to give her up back in the 1960s, and after getting a diagnosis of breast cancer, well, Dawn had to find out for herself whether it ran in her birth family. Well, now she wants the law to change, as Amy Payne reports.
Dawn McLean was one of hundreds of thousands of babies taken from unmarried mothers for adoption in the 30 years after the Second World War. Dawn says it created a lifetime of confusion, heartache and self-identity issues, compounded in recent years by a breast cancer diagnosis.
The first question you're asked is, have you got family history? So you're faced with a diagnosis, effectively you're faced with your own mortality and not knowing what your family history is. The response you get from health professionals tends to be very casual, like, oh, okay, then we'll just continue as though there's no extra risk.
Dawn received treatment, but later her own research revealed her birth mother died from breast cancer. And that's why she's adding her voice to calls from adoptees for easy access to their family medical history. It's one of 14 recommendations prompted by this Human Rights Inquiry report. The government replies in this response to the report. It says, we agree this issue is a concern to adopted children, particularly when attending medical appointments, and can be distressing and painful. It adds, it may be difficult to establish a system for passing on up-to-date medical information to adopted people when they're not in contact, as the medical conditions of their family members may change over time. It concludes, we will discuss the current methods of parents and relatives passing on medical information with intermediary services to ensure this issue is being explored. Genetic privacy experts, meanwhile, highlight other considerations.
From a legal perspective and the ethical perspective is generally that it falls onto the side of the parent's privacy to keep that information from them. Now, the question is whether that's actually the right way of doing things is an open debate, but generally the erring on the side of privacy is the way it's been.
Dawn says the inquiry has galvanised adoptees and they'll continue campaigning for their rights. After a lifetime of feeling invisible, it is finally, she says, time for them to be heard. Amy Payne, BBC East Midlands Today, Leicestershire.